Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John PERRINE, Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you each and every week by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, visit them at www.indianasfinest.com. We want to thank our partners at EMMIS Communication Network Indiana for the work to get us on the radio waves across the great state. BK Brendan King behind the control board. He's really, really good to us, and we appreciate him very much. Of course, the man behind the camera that doesn't want to be in front of the camera, but he does such good work, is our friend Tom Trial. Simply amazing. And a couple familiar faces in the studio with me today. Joining me is Captain Ron Galvez, Chief PIO for the Indiana State Police. And we do this show every year, and it's a good cause, and that's my guest, Master Trooper Patrick ETTER from ISP SWAT. So, welcome, guys.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
It's that time of year again. Can you believe it's almost Christmas?
Yeah.
You know, I live in this thing where it's like, I almost forget that it's 2021. Like, it seems like we're still in 2020. Like, where'd all the last 2 years go?
I know, right?
So, but here we are, coming up on Christmas, and something that you've been heavily involved in for your entire career is a Shop with a Cop, Christmas for Kids, some sort of charity event to make sure that children that need it have an appropriate Christmas celebration.
Yeah, I think I'm going on 27 straight years of participating in that. So every year, my whole career, in one form or another. As most people know, we started the Trooper Bartram Memorial Foundation years ago after Pat Bartram was killed in the line of duty, and his sister wanted to start that Christmas program, that Shop with a Cop, that carried on from the Indiana Troopers Association when they had formed a program that they had, and when that went away, she kind of wanted to do something on her own and help the FOP Shop with a Cop, and then we started our own foundation and have taken, I think our best guess is, when I figured it up last, was 4,000 or 5,000 children shopping since we started on our own. So
Unbelievable.
That's amazing.
And it's life-changing for these kids to get an opportunity to do that. So Patrick represents the Bartram Memorial Foundation, and you can find them at bartrammemorial.org,
Yes.
correct? Bartram, if you want to make a donation, if you want to read a little bit more about what they do, see photographs. And some sad news this year is of course, the most passionate person about this program, Kim Bartram, Patrick's sister, passed away earlier this year.
Yeah, Kim passed away in May of this year due to some health issues and stuff. So that was hard on everybody involved in the program, of course. And she did most of the background work
It's
that
a lot
was involved
of
in
work,
this.
right?
It's a ton of work, and she was retired and spent a lot of her time doing that, which kept me from doing it, and she had the knowledge of doing it. So it's been a little bit of a struggle in the last really year and a half as her health had gotten worse.
Mm-hmm. But she stayed with it. I mean, she stayed
with
involved
it the whole time. I think she was very happy last year at Christmas that we were able to do anything. We had to modify our program a little bit, but I talked to her probably as much as I could, as much as her health allowed during Christmas last year, and filled her in on what we were doing. And I think it made her very happy to see that.
And it's got to make her happy knowing that you're going to carry this on. This isn't the end of the Bartram Memorial. You're going to figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and we appreciate your commitment to that.
We're in some works and talks right now of partnering with the Indiana State Police Alliance and moving that program over to them. Of course, the board of directors at the Alliance and the membership are heavily involved in nonprofit and fundraising and charity work with the various programs they have. So it will make sense, I think, if we're able to do that and carry that program over. And of course, I rely heavily on the membership of the Alliance, which is made up of 95% of all the troopers, and for them to help me spend this money that we have to take kids shopping. So
yeah, and so we'll get to that in just a second. But Captain, talk about the importance of programs like this. It's not just about giving physical gifts to children that need them, but it's about the interaction, the relationships that are built. Some of these relationships last a lifetime.
Oh,
these kids find a mentor.
Absolutely, there's no doubt. So when you talk about the program that Pat's involved in heavily here in Central Indiana, That's just one of many of these that the state police participate in throughout the state. Maybe not so much in all 92 counties, but at least in all 14 districts. And so again, when you talk about building relationships that go on, you wonder how many of these, you'll never know. There's never a way to quantify, how many lives are touched and pushing that good work forward. But at the same time, people get an opportunity to sit and talk to young men like Pat here and get to know them a little bit more on a personal level, to see that, hey, they're human beings, they're caring, they love what they do, and they love who they do it for. We're not just robots out here stopping cars and taking calls for service and things of that nature. There's a whole other side to what it is we do and why we do it.
Yeah. And again, this program is important, but I want to rewind just a little and talk about the namesake of the program is Trooper Pat Bartram, and give us a idea of who Trooper Bartram was. You worked with him very closely, and why this program in particular would be so important to him.
Yeah, we worked the same district, same county, Putnamville District, Morgan County. Early on in my career, him and his brother Mike were, two guys I looked up to. Always squared away, looked good in uniform, and carried themselves very well. And Pat always participated in the Shop with the Cop programs. So when he was killed in the line of duty, his sister Kim kind of wanted to do something to give back in his namesake. And not just for him, but she was heavily involved in the concerns of police survivors and those types of programs. So she wanted to honor all the fallen officers, and that was her way of giving back and keeping their names in the memory of everybody. And so doing something for the public, and especially for kids, because that's where she wanted to give it back to.
And to put it into perspective, and this is just a number off the top of my head, and I don't expect you to know the number, but I think we can safely estimate about $500,000 probably over the life of this foundation has been raised and given into the community.
Yeah, I was spending around $35,000 a year for Christmas.
Yeah.
Taking 170 some kids shopping every year since we began, and then she was doing this before we actually started the foundation, and donating the money to the FOPs to sponsor kids.
Yeah.
So I would say that would be probably a pretty good
Well,
estimate.
and we talk about that's money that comes from the foundation, but all of us have participated in those.
Right.
And how many times have you give them a limit, you give the officer a limit. Hey, you've got these kids, you've got this limit, this is how much you can spend. They come up, they check out, you look at their card and you say, there's no way that was under the limit. And they just shrug their shoulders and laugh, right?
Yeah.
Because they pulled money out of their
They're
pocket.
pulling money out of their own pocket, or coming back after they go through a register and going through another register with other items that they're paying for out of their own pocket.
And they're not asking for recognition. They're just doing it because that's what it feels good. It's the right thing to do, and there could be changing somebody's life.
For sure.
Correct.
And so what's interesting, and every year we do this story, I mention this, and because it's what's touched me the most about doing these programs is when I have taken these younger kids shopping, they always want to get something for somebody else. It's not all just me. It's my brother, my mom, my dad. I want to get them something, and that to me is just really, really telling of what this program is.
Right. Yeah. Many of those kids want to buy for their other family members that maybe not are there with them that day.
Yeah. So, what a cool. So, unfortunately, because of the pandemic last year in 2020, you had to do things a little bit different. But it was important that you did something. And so, talk about what you did last year, and then we'll kind of get into what's going to happen this year.
So last year was, this year's gotten a little better. Last year was definitely a challenge. We weren't allowed to go in the stores and have a big event where we would have 400 or 500 people in that one spot at a time. And typically on our biggest years, that's what we would have, almost 200 kids plus their parents plus 130 or more police officers. So we weren't allowed to do that. So what I decided to do is I would contact all of the officers I could through the state, whether it was a state trooper, a sheriff's deputy, a local police officer, and say, if you've got a family that you know of that needs help, contact me. I will give you the money and you take that family shopping. And it didn't necessarily matter if it was a Walmart, a Meijer, a Target. It was so I would get online and buy electronic gift cards and then email them to those officers, they would print those out in their cars, meet the family at the store, and walk in and take them shopping. And all I needed them to do was send me a receipt, and that's
some
how
pictures.
and some pictures. I asked them for some
And
pictures.
the pictures were just for fun, not because they had
Right.
to, for any documentation purpose.
Right.
But
And so we were still able to take over 100 kids last year, which I was fairly happy with. I would like to take more this year, maybe up to 200 kids shopping this year, if we can get enough officers to help me do that.
Yeah.
I know I took 5 or 6 different families myself of an evening, and had a few help with some civilian volunteers and things. But that's my goal, is to run the program again like that. We have been allowed to go in the Meyer store in Greenwood. They've limited it to only 50 total people, so with kids, parents, and police officers, we can only do 50. But that's our special needs kids group that we take. So and we'll probably have more of those that we'll have to sponsor and take later on. But of course, Southport Police is actually kind of taking that whole program over. I'm going to be out of the state during that time. But Stacy Allen and Chief Vaughn has kind of made that one of his mandatory events for his department. And Kim's husband, Mike, is actually helping do a lot of that too with Chief Curl. So they'll run that, and then I'll try to get as many as I can to help me out the other way.
So here's what we need people to do, and this is tricky, kind of, is if you know a family in need, if you're a social worker, a school counselor, a teacher, somebody in your community, and you say, I know a family that needs this, the easiest ways, because we've mentioned that Pat's kind of taking this all over and navigating as he goes, if you can find a local police officer, whether it be a state trooper in your community, a sheriff's deputy, a local police officer, a school police officer, have that police officer contact Pat Etter at PETTER at isp.in.gov, right?
Yes, my department email. Yes.
PETTER at isp.in.gov. If that police officer will email Pat, it just helps keep the logistics thing. Pat will work directly with that police officer to get the funds so that officer can take that family shopping.
Right. Yep.
That way I can send the officer the funds. I can't send the family directly the funds.
That's right.
But I can get it to the officer so he can take them shopping, or another officer shopping. Or sometimes the officers will contact me, hey, do you have a family I can take and meet up with? So I've had a lot of guys do that.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking for this year. Is we're calling on our law enforcement partners from across the state, fire departments, first responders. If you know a family that needs something, and you're just not quite sure where you can come up with a little bit of money to take them shopping, to get the necessities and the wants, contact Master Trooper Pat Etter from the state police, and he will do everything in his power to make sure that you get what you need.
And if you don't remember that email address, if you call any state police post, I'm sure they'll track
That's right.
me down.
That's right. So you can contact any local Indiana State Police post, let them know you're trying to get a hold of Master Trooper Etter or the Bartram Foundation. And
we have a
we'll get
Facebook
connected.
page too for the Bartram Foundation, so you can reach out on that also,
Yeah.
or my Facebook page.
Yeah. So again, it's that time of year. It's the giving spirit. Just we're looking forward to it. Maybe we can change Christmas for somebody.
So congratulations, on all these years.
Yeah,
Thanks for doing what you do. It does make a difference. It really does. So keep up that great work. Look forward to participating.
Thanks.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to donate, if they say, hey, this is a great cause, I think I'd like to donate, every penny that they donate goes straight into the funds that go back to these kids. There's no administrative fees. We don't pay somebody to run the account. Every single penny. You donate $1, that's $1 that goes to these kids. And so tell people how they can donate.
Yeah, so you can donate on the website. There's a PayPal account, or if you get a hold of me directly, or send it to the State Police Alliance at their address. That check will make it back to me, and I can get it put into the account, and then draw from that account to send out to officers to take people shopping. If you want to participate in that shopping yourself, I'll set you up with an officer, and they can meet you there, and we can get it done that way too if you want to directly involve yourself. I've had several sponsors do that in the past. So
Cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Pat, and I hope everybody has a Great holiday season, and bartrammemorial.org. Thank you.